First, examples of tombs that followed the general or common architectural style. 1 Tomb Chapel of Rekhmire, number 100. The minister of King Thutmose III, Rekhmire, cut his tomb in the upper enclosure section of Shikabd al-Kurna cemetery. Its layout is as follows: a courtyard with a central entrance that leads to a transverse hall. This hall has an entrance in the wall facing inward that leads to a long passage that extends in the mountain's rock for more than 30 meters. It is also notable for its ceiling, which rises gradually as it goes into the interior of the mountain, reaching a height of more than 8 meters at its end and ending with a high niche that is likely carved into the mountain's northern wall. Likely, it held a statue of Rekhmire either by himself or with his wife. Unfortunately, smoke from some peasants who had occupied it as a home at some point in time darkened much of its scenes. With both familiar and unusual scenes engraved on its walls, the tomb of Rekhmire provides a record of many facets of the culture and prosperity that ancient Egypt attained during the reign of King Thutmose III. It is important to remember that the majority of Rekhmire's names were deleted unless they were out of the reach of the people who committed this hostile, vengeful, and vindictive act. Subsequently, the followers of Akhenaten focused their assault on removing the names of Amun and a few other gods. As we move into the transverse hall, we can see an image of the Hall of Justice to the left of the interior. This is Minister Rekhmire's official location, where he hears cases and settles disputes on behalf of the public. It is a big pavilion-shaped hall supported by columns with capitals shaped like palm trees, where the minister sits to do his official duties. King Thutmose's III's cartouches and the name of his minister Rekhmire adorn these palm stalks. The most remarkable thing about this hall is that there are 4 mats stretched out in front of the minister, whose image was destroyed, and there are sticks on either side of them. Different Egyptologists have different ideas about what these sticks mean. Additionally, 4 rows of officials, 20 in each of the 2 rows on either side, attend the minister's meetings. In addition, we witness protesters making their way to the central hall to have their complaints addressed, while outside the hall, we witness some people showing their respect for Minister Rekhmire by kissing the ground. The scene depicting some of the goods and products of Upper Egypt, including gold and silver, jewelry, boxes of different sizes and shapes, and livestock of both small and big, is next painted on the same wall in front of Minister Rekhmire, the tomb's owner. On the western, left, wall, remnants of a text exist that details Rekhmire's professional background, his responsibilities as a minister, and the tasks and duties he has towards the populace. Another notable feature of this tomb is the well-known scene painted on the wall facing inward on the left, which depicts the minister, the tomb's owner, receiving gifts and tributes from presenters of other countries. 5 registers contain the gift givers. The people of Punt, modern-day Somalia, are shown in the first register at the top, offering goods from their homeland, such as incense, gold, ivory, ostrich feathers, leopard skin, necklaces, and a variety of live animals like monkeys, ibex, and leopards. The scenes in the second register depict the inhabitants of the islands in the Great Green Sea and the Kti region, which may refer to Crete and the Aegean Sea islands, or even the Minoans. They carry national goods in a variety of shaped, sized, functional, and style vessels, such as amphoras, which we see arranged in front of the scribe who is recording them. Presenters from the Nubian people are depicted in the scenes of the third register, which is in the center. They are seen carrying live animals, including a giraffe, a leopard, a monkey, a herd of cows, and a group of greyhound hunting dogs, along with feathers, ostrich eggs, ebony, elephant teeth, and animal skins. The fourth register scenes depict the arrival of the presenters from the retinue region, or Syria. They carry a variety of utensils with varying shapes, sizes, uses, and sorts, including amphora, along with a chariot, horses, a bear, and an elephant. Regarding the scenes in the fifth register at the bottom, it might be a reference to some of the captives held to guarantee the tribe's smooth operation in the conquered and subjugated countries, such as the children of the northern and southern princes, in order to fill the workshops with them and to be slaves in the lands of Amun. Rekhmire was given all of these goods, presents, and tributes, in his capacity as King Thutmosis III's minister. A ruined scene depicting Rekhmire as a vizier before the king and his soul or spirit is then depicted on the same wall. Now that we have moved to the other, right, half of the transverse hall, we see Rekhmire, erased, overseeing the tax revenues of the delta, which are made up of gold, honey, and cattle, goats, and bulls. Rekhmire, erased, who oversees the crafts connected to the Temple of Amun, particularly the statue workshops, comes next. A wooden bed is beside a collection of pots, axes, incense burners, and necklaces of all shapes and sizes. We also notice many regal statues, some standing, some sitting, some kneeling, and some in the shape of a sphinx. Rekhmire, erased, comes next on the same wall, supervising the measuring and transporting of the grain together with bringing in various animals. In addition to seeing a herd of cows plow the ground, there are several peasants harvesting wheat fields with their sickles and pulling out flax plants with their hands. Moving on, we see some of Rekhmire's relatives in the rows along the narrow eastern, right, wall. Since they were close to him in the first world, they probably want to stay with him in the netherworld. As we approach the inward-facing wall on the right, we can see a wine press to our right. The workers are treading the grapes with their feet, and the juice is flowing into large containers. At the top, there are scenes depicting the bringing of wild animals, such as ibex, bulls, and leopards, one of which is hung on a stick which is carried on shoulders, along with greyhounds. Then, at the bottom, there are scenes of birds and fish being dried to preserve them. Next, we continue the view to the left, where remnants of a desert hunting scene with animals and a few birds over a papyrus lake can be seen. It is evident from Rekhmire's tomb that the minister ordered scenes from the everyday life to be added to the long passage because the walls of the transverse hall were insufficient to record all the scenes from the everyday life. These scenes are visible on the western, left, wall of the passage. The long passage's ceiling was progressively raised to create additional space for recording, possibly due to the richness of these earthly scenes. As we move through the long passage, we can see a scene of Rekhmire sitting and his followers behind him, watching over the masters of the various crafts and industries connected to the temple, on the wall to the left of the interior. They are seen arranged in front of him in a variety of professions and crafts, such as metal workers, where you see dish bellows and blowpipes, sculptors, carpenters, stonemasons, and makers of sandals and utensils. Presenting their respective works to the minister, each in their area of expertise. After that, there are detailed depictions of the funeral and the holy trip to Abydos. Following that, his wife and other family members are seen bringing him to his final resting place. Next, he and his mother are facing a big offering table. The son of Rekhmire and his relatives are seen bringing flowers to the dead if we follow the scenes on the wall to the right of the entry to the long passage. Additionally, we witness the minister and his followers receive a group of 3 rows of employees. The daughters of the deceased then give their father and mother chains. After that, there is a well-known scene depicting a women's concert with some girls playing the tambourine, guitar, and harp, and a men's concert underneath it. The scenes that depict the priest's ritual of opening the deceased's mummy's mouth are then shown. Lastly, a scene of a boat in a lake with trees all around it. It's possible that the deceased was hoping to have a garden in the netherworld with a lake in the center and a boat for him to take a ride there. A few scenes representing the deceased's family members presenting him offerings can be found toward the end of this wall. A high niche with 2 scenes showing Rekhmire kneeling before Osiris, the god of the dead, and one of the goddesses is located on the narrow north wall facing inward.